what do you call it, organized, the YouTube more organized, so it's in place. So also, before I forget, I'm testing out this company's, and there's probably going to be a company membership. I'm negotiating with the owner. This is a superpower AI. It does a lot of things. It does deal analysis. It does skip tracing. It does a whole bunch of crap. And right now he's offering some amazing, like $400 lifetime plans or whatever. And I'm saying, well, what can he and I work out to make it an agent benefit? But when I start sending this out to test it out, just so you understand what this will be coming with, it's whether it replaces batch leads or whether I just keep the batch leads, but it does a lot of cool stuff, including deal analysis stuff in many different business sectors. So if you hear me start talking about RCIC, that's what it's about.
Okay.
All right, so you've got a seller on the hook basically, and it's sort of where do we start kind of thing.
Yeah. I just got the phone with them. They agreed to a price, so I'm gonna send over the paperwork.
All right, now one thing, and I may not get to this till this weekend, but I think I'm going to change. I asked Drew for her opinion as well, and I think I'm going to package these into like a seller package and a buyer package. Right now, you fill out the forms separately, which on the one hand, I feel is easier having the forms separate so that they'll store separately. On the other hand, actually having one that's like a combined PDF might be more convenient. I'll make it up both ways, and you guys can kind of play with it. So the addendum Sellwise, this is basically literally your blank addendum, pretty much. Now I've also set everything up, and on a case-by-case basis, you can change this, or when I change to a buyer package and a seller package, it might change. But you can also reassign these signature areas. A good example as to why, okay, on this document, there's 2 sellers openings. Maybe your situation doesn't have 2 sellers, so you want to take one out. You can, when you assign it to the loop, you can do that. Or in another one of the documents is just a buyer spot, a seller spot, for example, the consumer notice. And I'm just going through a few things that she and I discussed literally an hour ago. On the consumer notice, it's made up as a buyer slot and a seller slot. Well, obviously you're signing the seller one way before you know who the hell the buyer is. So you can delete them, you can do whatever. The other thing is, if you're dealing with anything that has multiple owners, either an entity with multiple owners that owns the property, or there's a husband and wife or whatever scenario, everybody involved in the deed should sign everything basically. So like you've got, okay, this one's assigned to the buyer and this one's assigned to the seller, just the way it's set up on this document. You would go in and you would change who it's assigned to if there's a second seller or whatever. The trick is .loop doesn't have room for a second seller. So you would just call them something else, basically. Give them another role. Call them landlord. Call them, other or whatever. As long as ideally every signer is getting a separate email to a separate email address. Sometimes I get send them both to my email address. I am okay with that. That's a little bit of a gray area because could they commit fraud? Yeah, I guess they could, but whatever. That's they've committed fraud. But I also always get that instruction in writing, text message or something. And the other thing that I've begun to do is I've begun to not, if there's a second participant, I want to talk live on the phone in voice to that second participant. Because I had one last year where the seller, who I thought was the seller, apparently hadn't told mom the plan was to sell the house and didn't tell me there was a mom. Or I'm sorry, he told me there wasn't a mom. He told me he had power of attorney for the mom and he showed me a POA. But apparently a lot of that was fraudulent. And mom said, no way in hell am I selling. And so now anytime there's the mention of a second human being, unless they can show me a death certificate, or some other, obviously dementia or whatever becomes something, unusual situations we'll talk, but I want to hear the voice of that other person saying, and I'm walking them through the whole thing, Jordan agreed to this, Bonnie, and Bonnie, are you okay with this? And yes, okay, and great. What's your email address? Jordan wants me to use his email address. Yes, that's fine. So and if they are entity owned, like most of my entities are dual owner, single signer, meaning my wife and I can, either one of us can commit the company to anything we want. Great. If you're saying that's true, I want to see a copy of your operating agreement to show me that that's true. I one time early on, when it went through it with one attorney from a law firm in a bankruptcy situation, contacted me and had me start wholesaling the property. His business partner wasn't cool with that, and we had a lot of conversations with words like fraud. And I then showed him the email from, this was before I was even smart enough to do written contracts. I showed him the email from his partner. He's like, "Oh, well, he should never have done that." I said, "Okay, great." I said, "It's all canceled. It's done. We're out. But don't think I committed any kind of fraud. Here's what I was basing it on." So those are just a couple things when you're doing this that, you guys tell me how I need to adjust these. And the last thing, maybe a bunch of other things we talked about, but one other one was, I don't often ask the question of the seller of, are you okay? I always ask, do you know what you're doing next? Because I've had sellers discover that they have nowhere to go, or da da da. But it will come up occasionally that the seller wants to stay longer past closing, and that, I think I might end up doing that for Drew on what she's doing, but that is that enters into a couple complications. The first complication is that we have to explain to them, yeah, that's actually fairly common.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm definitely interested in this, but like I'm like super interested in like.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Like I'm just a bit anxious to like get it built and sent over. Yeah. I definitely appreciate like the extra info.
No, that's right. I should have asked you a few time for that. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's
all right.
All right. So, okay. So what questions do you have, or do you want me to just take you through the tour, or what do you want to do?
Can we just do this together? Like, what would make sense? Should I like be logged in doing this on my own? And do you want me to screen share?
Yeah, that's probably better. Okay. But just to finish up anything unusual, call me and I'll walk you through it. Like somebody wants to stay longer, call me and I'll walk you through it.
I've spent roughly 0 minutes in dot loop. So
I mean, I can do it for you and you can watch. Although it will, so I will create one. If it's easier for you, I'll create one. I won't create yours. I'll just create one, because if I create it, then it belongs to me. I mean, like I don't know that I can give you access to it. So where you'll be starting, I'll show you real quick where you start. You literally start with that.
Yep. Which template do I want to use?
So what I do is I use, I'm going to mine real quick. So give it a loop name. Right now I very often skip the template because I have not yet created a wholesale template, which I need to do. It's one of the things I need to do. But basically, you can use a listing loop template, or you don't have to use a template at all.
How do I?
And so I'm going to build a Sellwise template. I wanted to get our.
Can I just hit continue?
Yeah, hit continue. Upload a photo, optional, but always nice. Just have a photo of the house or something so you visually see it. But you don't have to. There's no requirements.
Okay.
And then it'll come up and you hit view loop.
All right. Now what?
No, just because we're recording, tell me to shut the recording off, or don't put things like the owner's email or phone number on this. That way, if somebody else sees it, we're not breaking confidentiality.
Okay.
I would have to record it just as a way of showing it, but if you need me to stop it, let me know.
Okay.
All right, so you've got that open. Now you go into, and I'm actually doing it in another window. So you go into templates, and you'll pick Sellwise, wherever it is, Gorilla Sellwise.
And all 7 of them?
Eventually, you'll need most of all 7 of them, but what you need immediately, primarily, you need the 1173 addenda, the consumer notice, and the real estate purchase agreement. So you can add all 7, or you can just add the ones that you need now and fold the other ones in.
Okay.
You may not need all 7, but whichever one you
That
want
was
to do
4, right? The 1173, the consumer notice, and the purchase agreement.
Yeah, so 1173 consumer notice and purchase agreement. Those are the 3 he gets today.
Okay.
Then when he goes back, he gets the disclosure packet.
Okay.
And then boom, boom, boom. And the addenda, by the way, you're doing it. I'm sorry, the 1173 addenda he needs to get today. The other addenda, you'll see another addenda in the template called like Sellwise addenda or something. That's the blank one when stuff changes after the contract. So that's a use when you need it. That the 1173 addenda is the important one.
Okay. Okay. What's next?
So pick whichever one you want to start with. I just go from the top down. You open up the 1173 addenda. You have buyer 1, seller 1, and listing agent, and you'll assign one of those. You'll buyer 1 if there isn't a buyer 1 at this point, which there isn't. You can leave that out. Seller 1, you're going to assign that to a person. Add person.
Okay. Here, do you want to stop recording when I add the email address and phone number, or do you want me to put in like a dummy?
Well, honestly, if you could just put in a dummy for now, just that way I can keep one recording through the whole sequence, that'd be great. Okay. And probably even a dummy on his name or whatever. Yeah, and it's up to you. If it's too difficult, I'll stop recording. I'm just trying to give one recording you guys can always look back at.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put seller.
Yeah.
My number.
And things like country, city, state, are they wonderful information to have? Yes. But are they necessary? No. Very often I'll simply do name and email. I won't bother with the rest of it. It is nice and good for the file, but it's not necessarily required. Although let me kind of edit that. Actually, I would like their phone number as well as their email, just in case I ever have called directly.
Am I listing agent?
You're listing agent, yep. And you're actually playing 2 roles, but okay, so you're listing agent now, but technically, even though it doesn't show up on the contract this way, it doesn't have to show up on the contract this way. You're a listing agent and buyer because it's a wholesale agreement.
Yeah.
I'm having you use the listing agent thing because it identifies your license position, but you're basically both. You can put yourself in both places if you want, but yeah.
And then do I hit autofill?
Let me go back to your screen so I see what you mean by autofill. Not showing me now. Let's see.
There's another option.
It's weird because I'm not able to. Oh, autofill. Mine doesn't come up with autofill. Yours does. That's interesting.
Oh, I have to. It's gonna.
There we go. All right. Yep.
Okay. So
I tried to do that. I started messing myself up. So. All right. So yeah. So you're in. That's consumer notice. Right. I'm just going to open the consumer notice on my screen so I can walk you through it. Well, Yep. So then you have, and then you autofill in. So what it means by autofill is now it's auto assigning the people to the roles you put into the slots. Now, when you're in, so you're in your loop, and now if you had to change the roles that are assigned to these little boxes in your loop, you should be able to do that. Or for some reason you had two sellers or whatever, you should be able to make changes. But for the most part, once you assign people, you should just be able to hit send. Now, the blocks that you fill in are assigned to listing agents, meaning, you know, meaning the agent or representative for Gorilla Real Estate LLC blank using the company blank. Actually, are you on consumer notice or are you on 1173 addenda? Which document do you have open?
It says 1173 addenda.
Okay, yeah. So there under section 1, it says Real Estate LLC blank, Gorilla Real Estate LLC blank, that's your name. Using the company, that's your company. You know,
I can't type in here though.
Okay, that's, oh, maybe because I also have it open. That's weird. You should be, oh wait, did you assign yourself as listing agent?
Yes.
So you should, you can't type it. All right, let me, because once you assigned yourself, it should have let you.
Oh, okay. What was the first one? The agent or representative for Gorilla Real Estate.
That's you personally, how your license is written.
Okay, so I hit that. I clicked in there. This is really goofy. And I selected assigned to Christopher Polachicchio. And then the other field, if that, what else, what's going in there? Using the company.
That's, the second one is optional if you want to fill in your qualified association or your company. My opinion, this is not a legal opinion, my opinion is that's the way you can show Sellwise that you're not trying to go around them. Because you're saying, hey, listen, I'm the licensee, that belongs here. This shows that this is a Sellwise transaction. That's I think what they mean. In that's what I meant when I created that version.
So can you see what I actually typed this in there now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And can you see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So there is a second seller. So can you help me, or yeah, can you help me add the second seller?
Yeah. So one of these is assigned to buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And just when you click on the one that's assigned to buyer, you can change it to be assigned to something else. You can.
But then there won't be a space for the buyer to sign.
But right now we don't care about the buyer because this is why I'm going to create a buyer package and a seller package. Because right now we don't have a buyer to assign to this document. We can send out a different 1173 addenda to the buyer, or if you want to add a field, you can do that. But I think now the more I'm doing these 1173s with you guys, I think I'm going to make a buyer one and a seller one. It's just going to be easier.
Okay, so I should assign this to
some other role besides seller. I use other or landlord.
Okay.
Yeah, just because unfortunately .loop only allows for one seller, one buyer, which is kind of weird.
But if I hit Jane Doe right now, Jane Doe can't sign here and here. This is confusing. Who?
Let me.
Who is signing on the middle signature? Who is signing on seller sign here? And now,
so the middle signature is assigned to, I think the middle signature is assigned to listing agents. I think how I have the middle signature assigned. I'm actually opening up in my window just so I don't misidentify. Yeah, so the middle signature is listing agent. Middle signature is listing agent. You've now assigned the other two to the two sellers.
It doesn't seem like mine came up populated with where people were like it.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't seen that before with .loop, so I have my training with them is tomorrow, so okay. I'm gonna have to ask them a question.
This says can be signed by sellers Jane Doe, so that's correct. And now, okay.
And you just did the other or whatever for the other side.
Okay, so this seems correct. So I just want to save this and then do the other one.
Yeah, and so the button up here, save and share. Or you can save and deal with sharing it later, but if you hit save and share, it saves it and it sends it to them.
Right, so I didn't put the real email address or contact info in yet.
Yeah, right, exactly. So then, yeah. Once you save it, you go back, you do the next document, you go back, you do the next document, which when I package these, that's why I want to package them, because but basically, for right now, do document.
Okay, so buyer, this says can be signed by Chris Paul Chicchio. And this says, okay, so this is good. Okay.
Well, hang on, back up though. You said there's two sellers.
Correct.
Because there's two sellers, switch the buyer around to that other role you created. And you'll see I'm neurotic. I put in signatures or initials at the bottom of every page. Those aren't even legally required. I just like people to acknowledge they saw both pages. They can never claim, oh, he only sent me page 2. And because your signature here is listing agent, you don't actually have to sign this as a buyer because you're already there.
So this one, it says assigned to no buyers.
Yeah, so you can change the reassignment however you need to.
Wait, so who is this supposed to be?
So that first box is where they type their name. The second box is where they sign. The first box is where they type the name. The second box is where they sign, pretty much. That's the state's plan, anyway.
Do I need? Oh wait, was this supposed? This is supposed to be buyer.
Yeah, it was set up as buyer, but again, you're not needing to, because you have two sellers you're reassigning.
Got you.
Yeah. Yeah, since I normally use the net listing agreement, I need to sort of get back and focus on the 1173 side for you guys and for the other new people we got.
And then this should be me. Okay.
Yeah. And when I'm saying things like you're playing two roles, therefore it doesn't matter, I'm saying that because there's no actual state guidance right now, and I'm just saying that the attorney has agreed with me that as long as you as buyer and you as agent have signed once on the page, it's really okay. Signing both is great, but at least signing once. You're a human acknowledging you've seen the page is what it's acknowledging.
Come on.
And you may find it more laggy because we're on the video. I know on my computer it does. Or it acts weird because we're on the video.
So I'll leave buyer blank here on the real estate purchase agreement, right?
Yeah, that's fine. And to the point, you could do one of two things. You can leave it blank, or you can put yourself in both roles. Because on the wholesale, you technically are the buyer preparing to assign the contract. And the attorney's opinion was both is better, but she's like, there's no state guidance whether both is necessary.
Okay, and this one I'm going to leave it blank. Do I put today's date in?
You can put today's date in, but .loop automatically dates when things are signed. So I normally put today's date in that box just so I'm recording when it was sent. Now on the consumer notice, if you get a rejection, I'm not going to sign that. You can continue to work with the person. You just have to write on there, presented on this date. They refuse to sign. Proceeded to do the deal or whatever, and just initial it.
Okay, so we agreed to 105,000.
Okay.
But this obviously, if I wholesale this, they're not going to pay 105,000, right?
Right. So okay. So this is your buyer agrees to a purchase price of 105,000. This is your purchase agreement from them, or meaning seller to you.
Yeah.
Assign it. Now, important when you're doing your buyer naming of your buyer in this, meaning which is you, by the way. This is the important part. You're the buyer on this contract, so it's your company and or assigns. That's it, which is written in the contract, but I always put your company and or assigns.
So I can do that here?
Yeah. Yep.
Now in this case, should I use my QA, or should I use property Sellwise of Pittsburgh?
I would imagine property Sellwise
Yeah.
wants you using what they get a piece of money from.
Well, so, CJP Ventures is property Sellwise of Pittsburgh.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. Be more afraid of them on who the buyer is than you are of the state. In your case, you're fine on both. So I would use CJP, but the and or assigns is part of it. I'm actually going to make and or assigns as part of the actual permanent contract.
Okay. Can I leave this blank?
Where are you?
On the inspection and conditions.
You want to inspection conditions. You want a timeline for how long you have the right. This is your due diligence period.
Yeah. Okay. I just I meant leave it blank. That's something I forgot to ask her. But I'm going to redo this, so I'll put.
But pretty much work that out. I typically do 4 weeks or something. So here's what I normally do. I normally do 4 weeks of due diligence and 4 weeks of title. So at the end of due diligence, we start title. Now I never want it to go that long, but what I don't want to have happen is if title, if you say title is going to take 10 days and title takes 14, they have the right to not close. So in this, you want the timelines as big as possible, realizing that the goal is time is of the essence. The goal is to bring it down from that, but you don't want to be in a situation where you have to keep extending for, things like the county didn't respond. So I personally do 4 weeks inspections when they'll let me do it, and I do 4 weeks for title. If they want less, then you work it out with them.
I'm gonna start with I think 3 of day of.
Yeah.
Why can I not see the 6?
And just as a side note, and/or assigns being in the buyer section is helpful and good, but Sellwise did a great job putting the assignable directly in the contract, so we're covered either way.
All right, I'll deal with that later. Okay. Closing shall take place no later than. All right, we don't have a closing date, so I'm just gonna say
That's where I'm going out 8 weeks. I'm basically saying, 4 weeks due diligence, 4 weeks title should cover it. Or however far you want to go out, but that's the. This is one of those you don't want to have to come back and do extensions and have people have the right to say no.
yeah.
To it.
What is the width here?
All right, let me switch back to your screen so I see where you're at. I'm following along my own window. Where are you on with?
On closing terms.
Oh, that's gonna be the title companies, which with blank, which we're suggesting Parkland Abstract.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Oh, sorry, that box is a little bit. Hang on. I think
Is this the title company?
No, hang on. Well, there's no later than blank with blank. Buyer will choose the title and company. Yeah, this is phrased a little weird, but that blank is for the title company. A lot of times I will simply put TBD in for the title company. So I'll put with title company to be determined or something.
Yeah.
Because as I mentioned to Drew, we're going to probably use Parkland as sort of a default, but the buyer has the right to say no. The buyer, I believe in Pennsylvania, the buyer tells you, I don't want to use Parkland. I don't think.
Well, from what I've seen on assignments, the wholesaler specifies like that's something they have to agree to.
Yeah, and it's very much normally done because like Drew's actually starting title on hers, and I think that's what Sellwise is probably teaching you, which is fine. So basically, it's one of those things that if the buyer really hated Parkland and said no, I don't know if we can stop them from using another title company, but I've never had a problem. So I would put in either title company to be determined or Parkland Abstract, and then we can always play that if the buyer hates them for some reason. I like them because I know the owner really well, and if I call Matt up, he'll get anything taken care of.
Yeah. Okay. This agreement must be accepted and signed by seller by. So I'll just make it.
A couple days usually is what I make.
Yeah, by Friday, 21st.
Yeah.
So is there? So since there's two sellers, what do I do here?
Basically, just pull the buyer signature, reassign it, or actually, I'm sorry. Easier one here is just add signature up on top. Add signature. And then just bring the box down, assign it to whatever that other role was you made.
I didn't. There we go. Oh, come on. It's not dropping.
And when I'm reformatting stuff, I'll make two space. When I take the buyers away, I'll make two, or when I, whatever, I'll make two seller boxes.
Oh, there's a seller too on the second page. Okay, this is how do I get rid of this?
If you click on the one you want to get rid of, and then there'll be an X. It'll pop up in the top bar. See, assigned to sellers, there's like a circle field history, and there's an X. Yeah.
Thank you.
Trust me, after you do 2 or 3, like dot loop feels like a foreign universe, and after you do 2 or 3, you're like, oh, it kind of makes sense. The user interface, sometimes I like it, sometimes I hate it.
Yeah, it's really buggy.
And I've got a feeling we'll be moving at some point to this SP, this RCIC systems, because I think he's building a dot loop clone into here. Because my goal is to have one app that does everything for all of our agents. We're not bouncing from app to app.
Okay, I think that's everything.
Check your screen here.
Okay, so I updated all 3 documents. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use I have 2 email addresses I can use. I'm just going to test it with myself one time. And then I'll repeat this with the real information and get it sent out to the seller.
All right, cool. Yep, and if you have any questions or problems, let me know. What it will look like, and I'm just going to, is when it comes back and you go into the loop, next to the file, like right now, if you go into the loop, it will say, I'm trying to get mine to the window so I can show you what it'll look like and say.
I just say not screen.
Oh, all right. Let me turn me on here. So right now it says not shared or waiting on others. Can you see that now? Here.
Yes. Yeah.
So not surprisingly, when they've signed it, it'll say signed or finished. I think it says signed, but whatever. It'll say something clearly. That one's done. That way you'll know quickly. Hey, they did one, but they didn't see the other 2 or whatever. And then when you get this package back, that's when you go and you add document disclosure right from the template, right from Gorilla Sellwise disclosures. And then you're back to going through and filling in your roles and stuff. And I'm just going to show you this real quick. That's already signed. Fine. Okay, fine. Autofill. So, lead warning statement. One of the questions you verbally asked him is, have you ever had the house tested for lead? If no, these boxes are correct. We have no knowledge and no records. If yes, then move your boxes around. And do all the stuff down here. The disclosures, they don't seem to care if both owners sign as long as someone acknowledges. Here, again, if it's an executor, doesn't sound like this is, we put boxes in here and they don't have to do the rest of the disclosure. I still ask them to, but they don't have to. There's a baby lead included here, same thing. If they have knowledge, you move the boxes around. And then all the rest of it is just answering to the best of their knowledge what they know about their property. and then signing the end of it.
Okay.
It's any offer from an end buyer is not valid without this, but at the same time, I don't jump up and we want to get this quickly, but sometimes it takes them some time because these are answering a lot of questions. I say within a week of signing, you want to sort of start following up with them and saying, hey, did you do the disclosure yet? So that's why I keep it separate, because the disclosures are a little more pain in the butt of answering questions. But it is important to get as much as we can from them. And if you ever hear from them, if you ever know anything about the property that they're not disclosing, material fact, something which might impact the buyer's decision, let's talk about where the line is. But pretty much if you know something that's going to affect the buyer's decision and they didn't mention it, it's possible you're going to be required to disclose it. What I do is I stick it into disclosure and I say, put your initials next to that.
Yeah.
Like if a water pipe is broken and they don't want to mention that to the buyer, that's a material fact the buyer needs to know. So we'll cover that later, but just that's what comes next after they do these three.
Okay. Let me crank through this. Appreciate the help. Thanks for jumping on short notice. I really appreciate that.
No problem, man. If before you're ready to send it out, you want to jump on an unrecorded one, and I'll put eyes on it. Let me know.
Okay. Thanks, sir. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.